He was just a mechanic to them, a man whose grease-stained hands had no place in their pristine, manicured world. The HOA president, a woman named Carol, who wore judgment like a designer handbag, led the charge. She'd peer out her window, her lips curled in disdain as John backed his old but reliable tow truck into his driveway. An eyesore, she'd mutter at their monthly meetings, her voice dripping with venom. It lowers our property values. It's unsightly. The other board members, eager to maintain their neighborhood sterile perfection, nodded in agreement. They started with polite notices, then escalated to fines that grew with each passing week. John tried to reason with them, explaining that the truck was his livelihood, the very tool that allowed him to afford the house they all lived in. But they saw only grease, not grit, a blemish, not a breadwinner. They saw him as beneath them. The battle raged for months. They fined him for oil stains on his own driveway, for working on his own vehicles after hours, and for the truck itself, which they deemed a commercial vehicle unfit for a residential street. John, a quiet man who preferred the company of engines to people, felt the weight of their collective scorn. His neighbors began to shun him, pulling their children away as he walked by. The isolation was more painful than the fines. Finally, with foreclosure notices looming, they took him to court, confident they would crush the lowly mechanic and restore their neighborhood's purity. Carol sat in the front row, a triumphant smirk on her face. The HOA's lawyer presented a mountain of photos and complaints, painting John as a defiant nuisance. When it was John's turn, he didn't speak. Instead, his lawyer stood up and addressed the judge. "Your Honor," he began, "my client is not just a mechanic. He is the founder and owner of the largest and most successful auto repair and towing franchise in the state." A stunned silence fell over the courtroom. Carol's smirk vanished. The lawyer continued, presenting tax returns and business records that showed John's net worth was 10 times that of anyone on the whole board, including Carol. The truck wasn't just a truck. It was the first one he ever bought, a symbol of his journey from nothing to everything. He kept it for sentimental reasons and still took it out for emergency calls himself, not because he had to, but because he never wanted to forget where he came from. The judge dismissed the case. Immediately, scolding the HOA for their prejudice, John didn't gloat. He simply walked out, his dignity intact. He taught them that the dirt on a person's hands doesn't define their worth, and true value is built with character, not just appearances. If you believe that a person's heart is more important than the clothes they wear, please leave a like. It means more than you know. Remember, never judge a book by its cover, because you might just be looking at a bestseller. Thanks for watching.